When Microsoft announced Halo Wars 2 back at Gamescom 2015, it was practically a no-brainer that I would instantly fall in love with the sequel. Halo Wars was originally released back in 2009 as an Xbox 360 exclusive, which became a classic amongst console RTSs as there weren't many real-time strategy games on consoles. However, it wasn't the deepest title from a strategy player's point of view. Frank here, the Red Tie Guy, and with Halo Wars 2, Microsoft have definitely set out to correct the mistakes on the original title. Halo Wars 2 campaign takes place shortly after Halo 5 and features the Ark, which includes the missing Spirit of Fire ship as well as its crew. Anyone familiar with the Halo franchise will know that the Ark is the facility that could produce the Halo rings themselves. The cutscenes done by Blur Studios are on par with that of any Blizzard cinematics and are a real treat to watch. Isabel, which is the new AI very similar to Cortana, takes on a holographic body and is easily one of my favorite new characters from the UNSC. The leader of the Spirit of Fire, Cutter, falls a bit behind and flat during the campaign and is an easily forgettable character. The most interesting character is definitely Atriox, who used to be a former member of the Covenant. Now banished, Atriox formed his own team called The Banished. Graphically, the game looks familiar as an RTS. Creative Assembly has definitely done their best to create a high quality RTS for consoles, but some texture work does suffer in areas, especially a larger map with beach areas around the edges. Even when you zoom in, the game does suffer a bit from detail, which is unfortunate, but it does not take away from the game too much. With the game being locked in at 30 frames per second, it did run relatively smooth regardless of how much units appear on screen or what chaotic mess I threw down on my opponents. Overall, you'll easily feel familiar with the colors and unit design if you've played any of the previous Halo games. The sound design of Halo 2 is at its best when experiencing the cutscenes from Blur Studios. Voice actors do a superb job of creating high quality and believable characters. In-game sound does not lack either. You can easily distinguish which characters and units are on screen based on the sound design alone. The Halo feel is definitely familiar throughout the game, with its music changing pace as the action on screen changes. The Halo games have always had incredible soundtrack, and Halo Wars 2 does not lack in this department. Halo Wars 2 took what made the interface of the original Halo Wars so great and improved on that. You use the A button to select a single unit and the X button to deploy them, garrison, or attack an enemy. Activating special powers is used by pressing the Y button, and you can just double tap the right trigger to select all of the units on the map or once for all of the units on screen. Even though the user interface can be confusing at times, the tutorial missions does a great job of familiarizing you with the Xbox One controller. The game is also available on PC, but I played it on my Xbox One as my PC simply isn't strong enough to run the game on its highest setting, but I'm almost certain that using a mouse and keyboard would be the best choice. As a strategy game, there is a lot of planning involved when building your squad, as certain units counter others. You'll require energy and supplies to build and upgrade units and buildings. Both can be generated from your base as well as spread around the map, which often makes the game come down to who can collect the most energy and supplies the fastest. Leader powers also play a massive role in turning the tide of the battle, but I often found myself fighting with the controls more than I did with the enemy. After a couple of online matches though, I felt relatively familiar, but to the newcomers of RTS games on consoles, you might have a difficult time adjusting. As a fan of role-time strategy games, I can say that Halo 2 is definitely a lot of fun. While the campaign might not have a big enough incentive to replay again, it'll easily take anyone around 10 hours to complete. The multiplayer is really where the game stands out. With only 8 maps for now and a season pass available for purchase, all of the current maps are well designed. With your standard co-op and deathmatch, there are dozens of hours, if not hundreds, that can be lost in multiplayer. Blitz mode is a hit and miss at times. Replacing building bases, you collect cards which cost differently depending on their powers. Each leader has their unique card, and you can make a deck of cards from a large number of cards. This mode does require some techniques, and there is an element of luck involved, but because they allow you to buy card packs with real money, it can seem a bit pay to win at times, even though you can unlock card decks through progression. With a few bugs plaguing the game at the moment, it has caused me some problems, and I've had one hard crash on my Xbox One. Aside from that, I loved every bit of Halo Wars 2. It's a game that I'll be going back to on a number of occasions, and I even bought the Ultimate Edition, which includes the Season Pass and a definitive edition of Halo Wars 1. Usually I rate games that I buy at full price, wait for discount, look in the bargain bin, or rather avoid rating, and I would say that Halo Wars 2 on Xbox One is definitely worth buying at a full price. Seeing as there is a season pass available with no real announcements as to the details of the season pass, it'll be interesting to see what they'll be adding to the game. As mentioned, I did review the game on Xbox One, but with a mouse and keyboard it'll easily be the best way to play Halo Wars 2. For more on Halo Wars, check out my channel and be sure to click the subscribe button if you enjoy this review. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, then give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why so I can improve on my videos. My name is Frank, I'm the Red Tie Guy, and frankly, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next video. And beautiful to look at despite of all of the death traps and ambushes waiting around certain corners. As with any RPG, the constant grinding for better loot is always satisfying. Combining that with the rewarding gameplay and the incredible visuals, Nioh is definitely a game that adds a lot of replay value. It does have elements of multiplayer though, where you can summon fallen NPC players at the location of their deaths, and you'll have a small chance of obtaining their